And we are live. What is going on, everybody? We got my very excellent friend, Metal Chef, in the house. What's going on, James?
Pretty good.
Yeah, good, good, good. And then we got one of my very close personal friends as well. We got Barbado Joe. Joe, how are you doing, buddy?
Good to be on here, man. Good to be on here. Good to be hanging out with James too. James, I like your backdrop, man.
Right. I'm trying to actually get it to where it's this way instead of this way. The horizontal one, so I was now I have to like see this stuff over
here. Everyone's up in their visual game. I've still got the TV and the apocalypse stuff behind me, but I'm old like that.
Nothing wrong with that. So we have, it looks like Jersey Ron was in for a bit, and then now we have Jeff Rice. What's going on, buddy? I appreciate
What's up, Jeff Rice?
Yeah, for sure. Some good folks. So first of all, we always ask the same question at the beginning. What dessert did James make today? I got a special little treat for everybody.
What do you got?
What did you make?
I got the peanut butter cupcakes.
Oh man. Goodness. Now, is that considered, because I like cooking shows, but I don't do so much of the baking shows. Is that considered a ganache you got going there on that, James?
This is just it's pretty much just chocolate, cream, and butter like together. I mean, nothing really fancy. Just something to kind of put on top, not the ganache. But
what makes a ganache a ganache? Because I look at a ganache and I'm like, that looks like fucking icing. Oh, sorry, that looks like icing.
It's almost the same. I mean, considerably, it's almost kind of like the same thing of what I did. It's just heating up the cream and kind of putting the chocolate in the butter and in the bowl and kind of just letting it the cream sit. A ganache is almost kind of the same way. A few more steps, I think, along the way. I haven't made it in a while, but it's literally like the same thing. But
that's what I thought. Just attach a fancy French term to it, and all of a sudden it like elevates it or something.
Yeah.
That's cool. So I know you're a chef, and you always do. Are you a dessert chef, or are you just like doing desserts?
I just do this though. Like I do this on mainly like Tuesdays or Thursdays because those are like it's our downtime. We prep all of our stuff for the weekend, like for Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. That's mainly like our night shift, and so like the other days are just like downtime where we prep all of our stuff for the weekend and the week. And this is just like something I was like, oh, why don't I do this like every week? It started with just cookies and like making cookies for everybody in at the restaurant, and it just turned into like Cookie Tuesday. So people just started calling it Cookie Tuesday. And
nice.
I've been trying to do stuff like every week. So
that's cool. Fun. That's cool.
Try to come up with different like ideas, something like nothing like out of the ordinary, like just plain stuff, just kind of keeping it like different flavors or kind of just a mix of different flavors together, not just.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is cool. That is really cool. I enjoy that. And that's so both of us, Joe, just to let you know, both of us were hospitality guys. So that's I'm an IT dude now, but my degree is in hotel restaurant management.
Okay.
Which I didn't do much with. I did like 1 or 2 years in the hospitality industry. I mean, I still work in it technically because I work for Choice Hotels, but I'm an IT engineer, so nothing like it at all.
Yeah.
But I have my first love is restaurants and food. I absolutely love everything around it. That's what I thought I wanted to do with the rest of my life until I saw the hours.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it was like, no, I cannot do those crazy hours. James knows. I mean, if you are at if you have a place that has a bar and a restaurant, and they, depending on if they do lunch and breakfast and dinner, you can be there anywhere from 4 a.m. in the morning till 1 at night and get 3 hours of sleep as a manager. And
I've stayed from like midnight before, like 11 to midnight or something like that. It's been that late. I haven't I've woken up around like 4 o'clock or whatever and kind of been at work by like 6 or whatever, but like for holidays and stuff. So
I think a lot of people don't realize that. They think that as long as the business is open is all the time the chef does, Yeah. And then I told this story on therapy when we were in New Orleans the month before Katrina hit. And I drove about an hour outside of town in the swamps and took an airboat tour of like gator watching and stuff. My captain, normal looking dude, probably in his mid 40s, 50s and stuff, tall, And he brought up that he used to be a chef in New Orleans. And I'm like, well, that's got to be some talent because New Orleans is known for its cuisine. And someone asked, well, how did you do this? He said, well, I went and saw my doctor one day. He said, if you don't quit your job, you're going to die of a heart attack because of all the stress. And I was like, dang, I didn't know chefing was that serious. I thought you were just cooking.
That's how it was when, because I work at a country club right now, but before the country club, I worked at a fine dining restaurant, and they were really high fine dining, and I was to the point to where I was getting migraines, and I had never experienced a migraine before, and that was the first time I got a migraine, and it was crazy, like it was insane, just the way it felt, and I knew it was coming too, and like. I never got one, but like when I would get in more, I knew it was coming, and I would try and like take aspirin or whatever to kind of cut it off before I started getting the pounding headache, and it was crazy. So I had to give me a job.
Wow,
that was the one thing that I realized about and I think a lot of it had to do was I got married and then I had a kid, and the kid kind of changed that up for me. Was that I realized those hours were just not conducive to ever. It's a fun thing to do when you're younger. And if you really find a restaurant that you love, if you're really like, hey, I love this restaurant, this is my thing, then you're good. Otherwise, it's a tough shoot. And I've been at a lot of different types of restaurants. My internship in college was with a soup kitchen. And I was
like a shelter soup kitchen?
And Yep, that was my internship. I did like a year working at a soup kitchen helping people. So it was that was a very interesting life, because that was, you get a bunch of donated food and you have the ability to make whatever you want, but it was with that donated food. So you had to have recipes in your head, just, typical, like what goes with what, what kind of food can I give to a bunch of people, and a lot of it, and it has to be tasty. And it's in this pantry of donated food, which was fairly big because it was Flagstaff, Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
But with, certain amounts of bread that wasn't bad, or, vegetables and things like that you got for the day. And so it took it was the most fun I've ever had, because you really had this rolling recipe of things that you could try. You could try all sorts of new things.
Right. It's a mix of whatever.
It was totally fun. It was really fun. I made meatloaf, I've made chili, just amazing amounts of food that, I didn't think that I would ever have, because usually when you work at a restaurant like you're talking about, it's the same. You don't change the menu that often. So, and I maybe at a country club or fine dining, you have a specialty for a seasonal specialty, or a monthly specialty, right?
Every 2 months, I think they change it.
Yeah, so you get a little bit of variety there, and there is some skill sets for sure behind making different desserts, different plates, and that definitely, especially if it's cooked to order versus batch. But I had, I miss it, but at the same time, it's such a headache. Now, what I got as a dessert today was, I went some Mexican. So this is a drink. However, what it is it has tahini around it. So in this drink has a straw it's about that big, and it has that, it's tahini glucose base that kind of covers it. What are those food wrap thing? The fruit wraps that you get when you were a kid?
Okay, yeah.
Those little whatever they are, fruit by the foot, or those little things where you used to peel them off of like that piece of plastic.
Mm-hmm.
That, but in tahini. So it's just like that wrapped around the straw with tahini, and then this is a fruit drink, and with the tahini, it's like a strawberry smoothie with ice to it. And a lot of times what they'll do, and I didn't have any mangoes or strawberries, but they'll put strawberries, peanuts, like little peanuts in it, and they'll fill the very bottom of it, and you'll have all that spicy going, and then you'll eat the pieces of fruit out of it as well, and then you'll have that straw to eat as well. It's like a fruit roll up. Then it's the tahini, so it makes that Mexican candy type of thing. It's unique, and I got it from a friend of ours as a Father's Day present. and I've been
That's
wanting
cool.
to try it out. And today was cool. Yeah, it was, because I live in the Southwest, we get the opportunity, just like Joe can testify, that in the Southwest you get a different kind of vibe of food that you can get, and it's the real Mexican. It's like not Taco Bell or whatever.
Right.
I don't know what else I don't know what's outside of Arizona, Mexican food wise.
Not
It's
a
like
lot.
sit-down
Not Del
restaurant.
Taco is not outside of Arizona, but that's another fast food Mexican.
Right.
Yeah.
But most
But it's-
people's experience with Mexican is like maybe they have like a local sit down restaurant, but sometimes it's varying on how good it really is and how authentic it is.
Yeah.
It may have some beans in it and it may have chips. But here in Arizona, I mean, you can just throw a stone and there's a Mexican food restaurant that's authentic, and mom came from Mexico and they're cooking food right there for you. Well, and because so that brings me to my next point, San Diego.
Yeah.
So San Diego is in the south. It's in the west, but it's in that southwest area. And they get the opportunity to have also that Baja food that comes up from Mexico. So you have the fish, you have the shrimp, you have all of this wonderful food coming in from the south, all those recipes. And then you get the Mexican Southwest stuff as well. I love it. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah. How far are you from San Diego? What's the drive?
Yeah, it's like 4 hours. 4 or 5
By the way,
hours.
how's my sound? I'm hearing my sound on my headphones. Is it okay?
Good.
Yeah, it sounds okay. It's a little bit like you can hear a little bit of delay, but it's not bad.
Yeah. Damn it. I almost want to leave and come back as a result. I got rid of the other headphones because I thought that was doing it. Can I try that real quick, Andy? Can I just pop out, pop back in, see if that helps? Okay.
Yeah, no problem. So you're off today, right, James?
I know how to work today.
Did you?
Yeah. That's why I made these today, the cupcakes.
Oh, awesome, man. That's awesome. Well, you said Thursdays are your kind of your down day, so.
Yeah.
I miss that. I totally miss that side of the side of the universe. It's so fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah, that place that was the place I had to leave because it was just getting too much. When I started getting migraines and stuff like that, it was getting too much.
Yeah, well, right. You can't work that many hours. It's just not feasible to work that many hours and get that little sleep.
I hope it worked. We'll see if it did.
It sounds good. You sound good.
Yeah.
So you're going to San Diego?
I am going to San Diego. We go at least once a year, if not twice. San Diego is our to-go place. We usually stay in like Hotel Circle.
Yeah.
We usually stay around. There's a lot of I work for Choice Hotels, so we usually get a good deal through Choice.
Yeah.
So we stay there, and then we usually just do Mission. We do Mission Beach, and we hang out at Mission Beach for the day, and we'll do that. They have that roller coaster park there, the
Belmont Park. Is that what it is? I can't remember.
Park. Yep, that's exactly it. And then so we'll do that, and then we will go and so we usually we'll do the beach in the day, then we'll do and we do almost the same thing every time. As we talked about routines, this routine has to be the same routine. We go to the beach. We do that during the day. At night, we go buy one of those wristband passes where the kids can ride unlimited of those rides that they have. But all the kids ever do is bumper cars for like 5 hours.
Okay.
Van will honestly get off the ride, get back on the ride, and just do that. And then you actually have to tell him to go to the bathroom, like because he won't, and then it'll be over, game over. Then Grandpa has had many times where he's had to make special trips to the Roadway Inn or somewhere to go get some new pants.
Yeah, I know that.
He's just too excited.
Do you ever go to the Presidio there up on the hill on the Hotel Circle? The Mission?
I have been there, yes. And I dated a girl in college that lived in Solana Beach.
Okay, great little area.
Yeah, it's a great area. And so we would go and do a lot of that stuff. So I went up to Balboa Park and some of that stuff in that area for a lot of years.
Yeah.
And before I fell in love with San Diego itself. And me and Christy, honestly, if we could, we'd move to San Diego tomorrow. It's just, as you well know, probably why you even left, is the housing market is it's triple the prices of Phoenix
Mm-hmm.
for a dinkier house.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to live kind of, now it's almost like you have to live in like El Centro to even.
That's a long way.
That's a long way. It's almost like to get a house. It's like really difficult. And as you well know, I mean, you probably, you grew up in North San Diego, right?
The two major areas I lived was in North County. I lived up in Carlsbad, but I actually lived much more in the East County, which in a town called Santee, about a half hour from the beach, 35 minutes from the beach.
Okay.
Yeah. And just to let you know that when California, they don't talk about miles, they talk about minutes, because everything's minutes from somewhere, because you could be a mile, but it's 40 minutes away from the beach.
Yeah, that we did. That's true. We do. We're this far from Disney, this far from the border, this far from the snow and the mountains. And we also use the definite article with our interstates. Like, it's not Interstate 5 in California, it's the 5 or the 805. We never put the interstate in it.
That is true. That is totally true. Because we're off my sister used to live off the 101 in North Hollywood. And we the 101.
The 101. Never Route 101 or any of that kind of stuff.
Just because you want to, it's crazy. And I'll tell you that even though, and the thing about San Diego is this, there's never a straight street that goes straight to anywhere. It's like it goes around a mountain and then dies.
Yeah.
So you have to take the freeways there. There's no way. I always thought, why is the freeways always jam-packed?
Yeah.
It's because you can't get through on main streets. There's no because Phoenix is grid. Phoenix is totally a grid.
And downtown is grid, but just downtown proper is grid.
Right.
When they made LA, they did a good job and they gridded. Even the suburbs are fairly gridded. The closest road that does that, but it even peters out eventually, is Mission Gorge Road. You can take Mission Gorge Road from Santee almost to the beach.
Oh, cool.
But even that, you eventually get off and go towards a more beach friendly road. But yeah, they just don't exist. You've got the little interconnecting highways like 52 and 163, and you're either on the 8 or the 5 or the 805 or the 15 if you want to go to Vegas.
Right. Yep. I one time my aunt lived in Rancho Bernardo, so it's up northeast,
North Inland.
Yep. And so it was right off the 5.
Yeah, 5 or 805, but to one of them.
The 805, the 805, which is the east one, right?
Yeah.
And so she lives off the 805, and I thought I could just get on a road and just head west. I'm just going to head west, and then you find out very quickly that there is a lot of dead ends. And that was prior to GPS phones, and things like that. So you just kept going, and then you were just stuck.
I don't know if this applies to you, James, in your neck of the woods, but Andy, before GPS, when you were younger, did they have Thomas Brothers maps in Arizona? You remember the Thomas Brothers map, James?
The big, huge ones where you just like...
No, they were like in a book. They were like in a long book. You know what I'm talking about, James? They were the best road system map. They were in a long book, and this, like the delivery drivers from Domino's or whatever, that's what you used. You used a Thomas Brothers map.
No, I remember those.
I said when I was young, I was probably like 16, 17 or 18. Me and my mom and her boyfriend at the time took a trip from Florida, because I'm originally from California. I lived in Garden Grove. I was born in Westminster.
Okay.
And lived in Garden Grove. So I wasn't that far. My dad worked in Orange County. He was like a machinist. And so he worked in Orange County. So we used to see like the Anaheim Stadium to the left. And
yep.
I saw Arrowhead Pond get built. That's how long ago I
remember that.
So it's not called Arrowhead Pond now. It's called a Honda Center or something like that.
Right.
At least we made the road trip, and we used like a book as a map.
Yeah. Yeah. And not an atlas, because an atlas has like a state at a glance. A Thomas Brothers, and they did it for areas. So it would be like San Diego East County, right? Because San Diego County is too big. Your book would be like this. So you had to buy them for areas. But even still, it was like 80, 100, 120 pages. And it just broke everything down to a street level. They were great. My kids don't know how to read a map. They couldn't read a map. That's a skill you're losing with GPS.
Yeah.
That's it. That's a total truth. And then here's the interesting things about California is that the exit in the street, there's usually 2 streets that one exit goes off of. And so if you miss that exit, you don't get to go back. It's like 2 more miles past, and then you have to turn around, and then the exit is the next street up, but you don't know that. So you know what I'm talking about. It's like there's an exit on the right-hand side, and then the next mile is the next exit for the left-hand side to get onto. So you would always, if you missed an exit, you were like, what street? How do I get to that street? And especially with maps.
Yeah.
So my dad said I flunked the navigator. So we went up to Pasadena one year. We were doing JPL stuff. So we went to did this whole JPL.
Nice. That's, for those who don't know, that's the Jet Propulsion Lab, a very big deal up in Pasadena.
Yeah. So we got to go see some space. It was back when it was prior to the Mars landers. It was like the ones that went to like Jupiter, and and then there was another space craft that was being built that was going to Venus and then slingshotting to like Saturn or something. I can't remember which one it was now, but this was back in the like late 80s, early 90s.
Okay.
And so we saw it being built, and I got on the wrong. It's like I was the map guy, and I go, I get over there, and you can't just get over there. So there's like, I think we just mixed our exit, and my dad's like, you don't understand California very well, do you? You missed the exit, and now it's going to take us 30 minutes to get back onto that same road. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And it did. It was like, because we had to go get off on something else. And that is like kind of turning. So you're just like, I have no idea how to get back to, we were camping in like the mountains up there. Okay.
My grandparents, one of the greatest things they did for me, I absolutely love my grandparents. They lived in the high desert called Yucca Valley. It's about a half hour from Palm Springs. Okay. 29 Palms, the big Marine base is very close by. They would always take a big road trip for their summers. They were both retired. And this year they decided they wanted to go to Carson City, Nevada. And I was 12. And my grandfather sat down with an atlas and said, Joey, you plan the trip. So I was the one in charge of getting us from their house to Carson City. But we also had like a stop in between. We weren't going to take it in one day. We were going to take it in 2. So I had to get us to the resting stop and then the next. And I'll never forget that, because it taught me a ton. It taught me a lot about roads, major roads, minor roads, and it was an invaluable skill. And I just remember being more tuned into maps after I got to do that. And you're 12, you're planning the family vacation. You know, you're feeling like you're the big man on campus. That's right. I got us to Carson City, baby.
So James, that's right. You grew up in, where at in LA did you grow up at? You in Orange County, right?
In Garden Grove. It was it was probably like an hour away from Los Angeles Airport, like LAX.
Yeah.
So
he was in the buffer zone. Orange County buffers San Diego from LA.
Yeah, right. It was around in between like everything pretty much. Like it's but I lived there. I was there until I was 12 years old. I came here when I was I came here when I was 12 years old.
So as a result, James, were you an Angels and Rams fan? You know, those kinds of teams? Or were you a Dodger fan? How did you go early on?
Definitely Angels. I watched. We went to like a few Angels games and stuff like that. So it was definitely Angels.
Yeah, good times. Yeah,
and then the Mighty Ducks. You know what I'm saying? The whole Ducks thing.
Yeah, the Big A is killer, Andy, because when you're going down the freeway, the stadium is right there off the freeway. I don't know if you've seen it, and you see that giant A with the I don't know what it looks like now, but it used to be the giant A with the halo. It's such a killer view, you know.
That is, yeah. You know what I remember about San Diego is Padre Stadium, because it's all down.
The old one or the new one? Petco or Jack Murphy? I used to live at the top. There's one place you can come down. Mission Gorge is the road that ran past Jack Murphy Stadium, but there was a side road up the top. And so I lived about 2 miles from Jack Murphy one year. And it was the year the Chargers went to the Super Bowl and got blown out by the 49ers. When they won the championship game, they were beeping horns all night. But San Diego sports fans are fickle, man. It's a horrible place to have a sports team, because if the Padres are having a bad season, their Chargers are having a bad season, you got the beach, you got Mexico. If it's winter and you're watching the Chargers, you drive an hour, you get up into the lagunas, you got snow. You know, there's just too many other things. Here in Pittsburgh, when it's winter, you got the Steelers and nothing else is living, right? in Southern California, you got all sorts of other things for your entertainment time and dollar.
That's what I was telling. So because San Diego opted out, so they didn't want to build the stadium.
That bothers me too.
It does, because a lot of people were like, how do especially San Diego people, they were like, LA is kind of a rivalry city for them.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Sure.
So them moving to LA was like, I don't want to be an LA Rams fan. I know people that lived in San Diego that don't want to be LA Rams fans.
Mm-hmm.
So they're very disappointed, but and they just knew that stadium is old. I've been to that stadium.
Oh yeah.
Petco is still an old stadium. And so,
yeah, but Petco has character, Andy, because they built it with the weird angles and right. I mean, Jack Murphy was built. It's like Veterans in Philly. It's like Three Rivers was. It was that multi-purpose 1970s bowl kind of stadium, right? And but it was old.
It was old, and now Petco is supposedly old. Well, it's like the Diamondback stadiums. Is old, but it's not. It was built in the 90s, right?
Yeah, right. They're a new team at the time.
Yeah.
Don't make me feel old. I remember when they were an expansion team, damn it.
I know. But yeah, so I enjoyed, and of course, my big Arizona Diamondback thing is that I was at Game 7 of the World Series with the Diamondbacks versus the Yankees at the 0-1. So that was that year that 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
And they won in the bottom of the ninth. Craziest game. And I was I was at the stadium, bottom of the ninth. It's craziest.
That's amazing. My son, it was right around that time. I don't know if it was that same year, but they came out here to play the Pirates. So shortly after PNC Field opened, actually. And for whatever weird reason, after he got into baseball, he was a Diamondback fan. I don't know if it was the uniform color or whatever. He wasn't a Pirate fan. He was a Diamondback fan. So we went to a Diamondback game, and Luis Gonzalez was out in left field, shagging stuff. And he turned around and he started throwing balls up, in BP. He started throwing the extra balls up to the fans. And it was my son's birthday. And I'm like, Louis, for a birthday boy. And he was like, yeah, man. And he threw it right up there. I love that dude. I had played fantasy baseball when he was an Astro, and I'd always liked him, for the couple of years I played fantasy baseball, but he immediately looked my kid in the eye and threw it right at him. And I'm like, you're the goods, dude.
Stand-up guy. And
stand-up guy.
Stand-up guy. And then we had to explain to people how sports works in Arizona, especially to people like my wife and to other people when they signed him off.
Yeah.
I'm like, they traded him. She's like, why? How could they do that? That's like, he should have played out. And to me, I understand this way. Larry Fitzgerald is still with us as a Cardinal fan. But in baseball, trades happen all the time for teams. They're looking for the bigger, better thing to replace. Yeah, he's an icon. A lot of people were going to the stadium just to see him again.
Mm-hmm.
But the team was like gone. At that point, they had everybody was gone. Schilling, Randy Johnson, Gracie was gone. So all the big names were gone, and the only left one was Louis, and yeah, he had to go. There's a new team out there. They called them the Baby Backs, and they haven't ever been really back since. So
yeah, they haven't.
They went to like one. I think they've been to one playoff game since then.
Yeah, Whisker. I don't pay as much attention to football as I used to, and even the Chargers were always a second team. I'm a Viking fan, God help me, but it wouldn't surprise me. Spanos, I mean, there were a few times over the past, even when I was there, that they would hint at maybe going away. And, I left San Diego in 97. So you're talking about a guy who's talking about Jack Murphy Stadium as being old in the 90s, and they still stayed there another 20 years. I get it. I just don't like it. I mean, the Chargers were originally from LA, and then they moved to San Diego. But, now what do you have as a team? You have no NBA team. You have no NFL team. You have no NHL team. You got the Padres, And San Diego is like at one of the top 10 cities in the nation in population, and that's pretty shabby when a top 10 city. No offense, McMahon, but freaking Oklahoma has a pro team. Okay, Oklahoma has a pro team, and now San Diego has a pro team.
Well, and I always thought it was interesting that they got two LA teams, right? So they have the Rams back from St. Louis, and St. Louis just can't keep a team.
No.
And then LA got the Rams back, and then they got the Chargers, and it was all with some shady stuff under the table that, that you're like, how did that even happen?
Right. It's like feast or famine. For how many years the number 2 market had no football team, right? They had no Raiders, they had no Rams, and then boom, boom, they get them both. They get two back.
Yeah, very interesting. And the stadium, they're still, I don't think they've just completed the stadium, I think. And so I haven't been watching too many games there, but I know that my daughter was there in LA when they just the first inaugural season that they were back in LA, and they said it was just crazy there.
Yeah. Were they playing in the Olympic Stadium that first year?
They were. Yeah.
They were.
Yeah. In the Rose Bowl, I think, right? Or no, it was the Olympic Stadium. Yeah.
It was the Olympic. Talk about a freaking old stadium. Holy cow. That thing had like stone benches.
It does.
Seriously.
It did.
It's a college stadium. It's where USC and UCLA play.
Yep.
Well, UCLA would play at the Rose Bowl, but they would on occasion play there as well. But yeah, I mean, that's an old stadium.
Yeah. So how far away was the beach from you? Said 30 minutes away?
I was Mission. It's funny that you like Mission. Mission was my beach of choice. You had Ocean Beach right there and a few others, but I loved Mission Beach. And we would usually decamp about 200 yards south of Belmont. So we were pretty close to the roller coaster. But yeah, about 35 minutes to get down to Mission Beach parking lot.
Nice. And I miss that. I've had so much. We were talking the other day about, crazy things in California, and San Diego is just that tourist town as well. It has so much going for it because they have SeaWorld, they have Seaport Village, you have that the marina there, and then you have the Navy base, you have Catalina Island, which is totally cool.
Coronado. Catalina's near
Catalina is the one that's my sister goes to Catalina. That's where you go and snorkel.
Yes.
And they have bison. Weird.
They have the Wild Animal Park up north, which is like a zoo only. It's like a combo of a zoo and a safari because you can actually take a tour with the animals running wild. Which is a fun little place. If you're into the arts, Balboa Park has the old globe. I mean, it goes on and on. You got the world's biggest zoo. Yeah, and then if you want, if you want to go to a place that has a devalued currency and your dollar goes a little further, they've got Mexico right next to it, right?
Okay, so this is what I want to point out. Each one of us have been. James, have you been to Nogales or any of those border towns?
I haven't, no.
All right, so it's TJ is
TJ, yeah. only people in the Southwest call it TJ, baby.
So TJ it's just like Nogales, Arizona, any of these border towns, and it may be a little different now. I haven't been to any border town recently because you stay away from them once you've been there past 20.
Yeah, good call.
Yeah, because TJ, you would go down and you could be 15, 16, and you could get served. Yeah. So that's what a lot of us kids, especially high school kids, we would go down to there, or we would go do a spring break in Rocky Point, which is Puerto Penasco, which is south of the border a little bit, but now it's like Americanized. But go down to TJ, and there was just crazy stuff that happened in TJ. Just crazy stuff, because every kid that went down to those places, like we'd go there for when we were kids in high school, we'd go down there, and either we'd go to Nogales or TJ, and TJ, you would just be like, crazy things happen. There's donkey shows, there's drinking to crazy levels of, especially when you're a teenager, you don't know how to handle your liquor, probably 5 beers in, 6 beers in, right? You're drunk, stumbling around the streets of TJ, and you can easily get arrested.
That's the thing, I've been there many times, but I always try to go with a Spanish speaker because that could cut through a lot of red tape. If someone could at least speak the language, you might, because you're in a foreign country now. It doesn't matter whether you feel they have a right to charge you or not. They're going to freaking charge you. And they're corrupt. At least they were in the 80s and 90s. So you could pay them off, or you could spend some time in jail.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then your parents will know that you were in TJ and not doing the things you should be doing.
Right. Yeah, the most horrible thing about TJ to me is because when you're crossing the border, you see the kids with like one arm and dirty and begging with the chicle, right, and the styrofoam. It is poverty surrounded by an oasis called Avenida de Revolucion, which is where all the bars are, which is where all the kids go down to. And it's beautiful. It's neon and it's well lit up, but it's like the nucleus of a cell, and all of that cell is completely impoverished.
Yeah, it's very true. And you have to walk across that bridge, which you're talking about with the Chicle kids. There's a bridge that goes over, and it goes over one of the most disgusting looking, sewagey looking rivers you've ever seen. And you just like the smell of it is just like, oh my goodness, this is just foul. It's just foul. It's crazy.
But you know what's really cool, Andy? Something you should do if you ever get the time and desire to is I rode horses on the beach about 5 miles from the border. And right on the beach is the Tijuana Bull Ring. You know, so you can be riding on the beach in America, but see the Tijuana Bull Ring, you know, within what seems like spitting distance. And you can also see, if you're near dusk, because there's kind of some rocky elevation, not very high, but it's actually called Border State Park. It's so close to the border. You can see the Mexicans that are getting ready to make that run. Now, this is 25, 30 years ago. I don't know what it looks like now, but that was the state of affairs. And as you look, you're like, yeah, there's nothing stopping them. There was no anything. If they were going to make the run at night, they were going to make the run.
Right. Totally true. Yeah, it's just an interesting place, especially in the 80s and 90s, because they had that NAFTA. So NAFTA was a little bit different. It was a lot more loosey-goosey of rules. I mean, all we had to do was just come over. Now you have to have a passport. Back then, you just had to have an ID to come back. You just have some sort of state ID that said I'm an American citizen. And everybody had one.
I learned a very expensive lesson when I turned 18. That's a great thing about 18 in Mexico. I could take the trolley, I'd pick up the trolley somewhere, drop my car in a parking lot. Now it actually goes all the way up to Santee. Before it didn't. So I drive about half an hour, drop my car off, take the trolley to the border, walk across the border, get a cab at the border, take a 3-minute ride, and be at a betting parlor. And you could bet college football, you could bet pro football, you could bet whatever the hell you wanted to. I stuck with the football, and I learned about parlays and teasers and all this jazz. And that's when I realized I got to stay out of betting halls because I actually was in a fantasy football league where I was the commissioner, and I was well ahead. It was like Thanksgiving. I was well ahead, but I had the league winnings, right? And I'm like, oh, I nailed this. I've got this parlay, this and that. And I went down there. And of course, one of my sure bets fucked up. So now I got to go home. I went down there on a Wednesday to get the Thanksgiving game. Now I got to go back down there on a Saturday to try and win back the winnings of my league in case I lost. No, Joe, don't do that anymore. But it was fun. It was fun to be 18 and doing that kind of stuff. It was a blast.
Yeah, it's and that's the one thing is in San Diego, Arizona is Nogales, or if some other places. And it's fun. It's fun to get that kind of experience, and that's part of being our childhood that most people don't get a chance to go do some of that crazy. I mean, it's crazy. And you can I know people that got hurt or died.
Yes, so do I.
Like doing stupid stuff. I knew a guy must have been my junior year at where I live in Scottsdale at the time, and one of the kids went down to Puerto Penasco, Rocky Point. It was at one of the bars, tried to do a bar flip, and he was too drunk and landed on his neck and killed himself.
Wow!
Just because he was, but they overserve you. They just overserve. Yeah. You're just overserved big time. There's no rules about how drunk you can be. If your buddies can drag you out of there. That's as much as you can drink.
plus during the time, Andy, for me, it would have been 80s, 85, mid 80s. We weren't talking about that kind of shit in the mid 80s. There was no bartender saying, whoa, buddy. That just wasn't part of American society at the time, at least not widespread like it is nowadays. And so it definitely wasn't part of Mexican society because they wanted that money. And who can blame them?
Yeah. And they took dollars. That was
you damn right. They didn't want that peso. They wanted those dólares.
Yeah, you wouldn't even. That was interesting because I went to Mexico City, and they are definitely pesos, and so I had to try to figure out the exchange rate. But I was so used to the Gallus, and you just like everything was $1 there because everything was overpriced.
Right.
And you always got the same. If you went there as a tourist during the day, you got one of those stupid rugs, or
poncho,
stupid pullover
the little poncho kind of thing. Yeah.
And then cheap jewelry that would turn green on you because you thought you got a good deal, or those teakwood like statues of some sort.
Right.
Those ironwood, not teakwood, ironwood.
You could make I wasn't a big leather fan, but a lot of the people that I knew would go down there to buy leather because if you knew where you were going, you could make a killing. Stuff to be $400 or $500 across the border be $150 down there, and it was good. Good quality leather and good craftsmanship as well.
That's good times. Yeah, things are changed. I think just things are very different now. I haven't been down there in a long time, but I've been told that it's a lot different to go across.
Yeah.
The last time
I know the cartels are a lot bigger deal than they were when I was younger.
A huge amount of deals.
Yeah.
Like when I went to Mexico City a year ago, it was scary. Actually, there were some scary parts of Mexico City that where federales were running around, and they rolled around in a pickup truck with a machine gun on top.
Right, just mounted to the truck. Hell yeah.
Yeah,
which sucks because it's a lovely country, with lovely people.
Absolutely,
it really is.
I had the Mexico. Have you been to Mexico City or anything like that?
No, I've been to Ensenada and Tijuana. That's the only two places I've been in Mexico.
Ensenada's pretty cool. Mexico City was like being in Europe. That was the equivalent because they had the French influence, the Spanish influence, and it was the capital city for so long, and those countries had so much influence. It looked like even up until 1900s, they had all these European buildings there.
Yeah,
there was a part of Mexico City that was the French part of Mexico City, and it looked like you were in Paris. It was the same design, the same exact the same exact type of little park with some things around it, with some restaurants around it. It's so crazy, so Parisian.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, this is nuts that it's just like this. And then you go over, and there's people selling the chicle stuff.
Right. Yeah. New Orleans was like that for us, Andy. It felt like a foreign country in the French Quarter. Also had the Spanish influence. And you go one block away from the French Quarter, and you are in very heavy poverty and crime and all that jazz. It's amazing. It's like you're sitting in a fishbowl when you're in the French Quarter.
Yeah, that's kind of the way it was downtown. Because we had a hotel that was just on the edge of not too bad. But I took a bike trip, and the guy at one point goes, you see all these umbrellas? All the different versions of them is depending on what underground person is manning them. So it was they don't pay taxes because these underground systems, mafia type of places, they're running the shows, they're running the restaurants, they're running they're running all of the food vending stuff that's out there for the street vendors.
Yeah,
they're running it all, and they all have different colors tents, or like pop-up tents. Then that means they're part of this different group syndicate.
Wow.
And there was one area where the guy goes, just ride your ass off through this area, do not stop, do not stay, keep together. And it was seriously dangerous. And I'm like, I think that's the part. That was fun. Let's not do that again.
At that point, it quits becoming a vacation. Yeah.
I took this bike trip, and we saw these amazing frescoes. We saw places that we would never see otherwise because this guy had all the ends for all these places. And it was a little bike trip around. Very cool. And then this one area where you're like, don't stop pedaling, just keep going.
This is Narcos land.
Yeah. So James, you were there. Now you're in Florida now. Now, do you see a lot of different? Because in my opinion, it's a different Mexican culture because it's that Caribbean. It's the Cuba. The Cuban influence is there.
Actually, pretty nice. There's actually a lot of taco trucks or like Spanish trucks, like not far. Like you can kind of go in each corner, and there's there's a taco stand, or truck or whatever. But really nice taco, like authentic stuff. They make their own tortillas, all that stuff. It's really nice.
Cool.
Now go ahead, Andy. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Does Tampa have that same Cuban influx that Miami does because it's so much further north?
A little bit. I mean, okay. I wouldn't say like a lot, but it's you can tell there's a little bit of like the Cuban up there as well.
Okay.
I know that I've never been to Miami, but my grandparents lived near Tampa, and what I remember of Tampa, the area, is it's a lot of retired folks, mostly retired folks, a lot of snowbirds.
That's how right? Around a little bit south of me is Sarasota. That's where a lot of the retirees go to.
Yeah, that's where my grandparents were at. They were in Sarasota. Yeah. My grandma grew up in Clearwater. So.
Oh yeah, big spring training baseball city, Clearwater.
Oh, Clearwater. Yep, absolutely.
Part of the Grapefruit League.
I'm not far from the Pirates train over here.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Now, do you do Busch Gardens at all?
It's been a while, but yeah, I've been there a few times.
Yeah, I know people that love doing that. Busch Gardens is like, I guess it's like, what is it? Six Flags, kind of. I think it's owned by Six Flags now, right? Is it Six Flags Busch Garden or something like that? Or they own this?
I think it's just Busch Gardens. I don't think it's
Busch Gardens. Okay.
Speaking of not stopping your service, I'm old enough to remember the original Busch Gardens, which was just a little north of Inglewood in California, where the biggest thing you did there was take a tour of the brewery because they had a working brewery, Anheuser-Busch Brewery, and they had a couple rides, but nothing like Busch Gardens today. But what got adults there were the multiple stands of Michelob, Busch, and Budweiser dispensing places where if you were an adult, your park admission got free refills of that stuff. And they didn't care how much you drank, where you were driving afterwards. I just remember like thinking about it now that I'm adult, because I was little. I was probably like 6, 7. But going, holy hell, not only would that place not survive, but just think of the money. All that stuff was free, dude. You could literally down a cup between each stop and go, hit me.
That's the best bar ever.
Yeah, exactly. The amusement park bar. Exactly. That's how much we changed in 45 years.
Yeah, I remember when they had like a beer garden there or something like that, like a while ago.
That was the thing back in the day. That was Busch Garden. That was the reason for this. Mm-hmm. And then they built the rides around it.
Right.
Later.
Exactly.
Because Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis, they still have that tour that you can go in. There's the unlimited alcohol that you can drink, and there's people just in there slamming beer.
Oh, do they still have that going on, Andy?
This was a long time ago. So
okay.
Oh, my goodness. This must have been this was 86, 87.
That's still a good decade or so after I went. So, yeah.
But they had that. You would go in there, and that would be it was for some reason, my parents aren't drinkers, but we decided on every vacation that we ever went to, we thought that it would be really fun to go to and where they did alcohol of some sort. They brewed it, or we one time we were in Glasgow, and we got to go see the Johnny Walker distillery.
Yeah.
Where they actually, the blending unit where it smells like hoppy and all that.
That'd be fun.
It was actually really cool, but they did unlimited Johnny Walker there.
Oh,
get all the samplers. Like you could go and try if you ever wanted to go try any of the really good fine end, like the sapphire level stuff. You can try it there for free.
Wow.
Just got to take the 5P tour.
Oh my God. That'd be worth it. That would be worth it.
5 pounds to go drink as much as you could do shot after shot there. It was
fun.
Yeah. But my parents weren't drinkers, so why were we there? I don't know. I guess we enjoyed ourselves a tour of people making alcohol.
That is funny.
I love amusement parks, though. What was your favorite amusement park growing up, Joe? You had so many to pick from.
I'm an amusement park wimp, man. I am not a thrill ride guy. It would still have to be Disneyland. I never had been to Knott's Berry Farm, and the one time I went to Magic Mountain, the Revolution, which was the first corkscrew. This is before they had backwards and dry. This is like 1977. That was the new thing, and I'm like, no way. So Disneyland. Now we have a local amusement park in Pittsburgh that's on the historic Register of Places. It's been around since the late 1800s, called Kennywood. That's really kind of cool because it's a blend of old school and new school rides and stuff. It's a fun place to go because it has levels of rides.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, one of the last times I was in California, we went to, well, this is a while. I think it was probably like, teenager, 18, 19 or something. I went to Knott's Berry Farm on one of the visits. Went to Knott's Berry Farm. My aunt actually works for Disney. She worked for Disney for a while, so we can get for free.
That's the best. My daughter, she lived at Disney World, or she worked at Disney World. I could have gotten a ton of free stuff if I wasn't on the other side of the country. I would have been going there. We went to Disneyland last year as a family, like a huge family. Like my parents took us family to Disneyland for free and gave us some money and spending and hotel and paid it all. Like that's what we're gonna do for that's what you're gonna get as your inheritance, is these trips. Which I was totally cool with. I'd rather do that. I don't want money, I have
right.
I'm plenty fine. So we went to Disneyland and we had such a fun time. I had forgot how much fun Disney was.
It's a great place. It is a great place.
Have you been there? Have you been there recently?
Well, I've been out here for 22 years, so no.
Disney is so different than when we were growing up. They have California Adventure now.
I know about that.
They have Downtown Disney, which is like a mall of Disney.
I've seen that in Florida. We went to Disney World since I've been out here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just so different because now and then that area, when we were kids, it was like California Adventure is the parking lot. Where Disneyland was.
Right.
But everything else is like hotels around it now.
Yeah.
And there's like some parking, but it's not the same.
And in Anaheim, they used to have all the really old school hotels, like from the 50s, and actually motels from the 50s and 60s. Right. Probably remember that, Chef, because Garden Grove is right next door to Anaheim. There are all these little motels once you get off of Kinsella, off the freeway there, and drive into Disneyland. I got to go, Andy, but I wanted to give you one tip. Yeah. Okay. We went to Orlando 14 years ago. And we were able to go to the Disney parks and to the Universal parks. And I know in California, they have both Universal and Disney. Right, if you ever have Van with you, Disney treated Ariana just fine. Okay. That was great. They put her in the Fast Pass, etc. Universal put her to the front of the line in every single, and she was only doing kids rides. So we did like the Dr. Seuss land in Universal Florida. They have like a Dr. Seuss land that's all Dr. Seuss themed rides. Front of the line every single time. Which awesome. For a girl who doesn't like standing and actually physiologically has problems standing for long periods of time, and I imagine maybe Van might be like that, it's a big deal. It's a huge deal.
Awesome.
So that segues, we'll get you off in like 2 seconds here.
You got it.
So we wanted to bring up next week, Barbado Joe is coming back. And we are doing we're going to do a charity auction. This month is Down Syndrome Awareness.
That's right. Wear your blue and yellow.
I know. Right. Absolutely.
My wife just gave me the time. Go ahead. Keep going.
Yep. So the big thing next week is we're going to have Barbado Joe, and we're going to have his daughter, Ariana. She's going to be on as well. And we are going to have a blast. We did this last year. It was such a fun time. Even if the charity wasn't involved in it, we just had a good time. But this year, we're going to try to do some auction to do an auction to get some charity money to give to Sharing Down Syndrome Arizona, which is a group that my family has been very helped by over the years. People are not prepared for what Down syndrome is going to give them in life. They're not sure what, in your experiences, everybody's experience is a little different. But Joe and me have been, we have kids that have Down syndrome, and we want to let people meet them. I can't do it with Van this year, but Ariana loves doing this with us, so we're excited to be able to have her on as well as Joe. Yeah, James will be on, and then I actually got a teacher friend of mine, and maybe a couple other people that work with Down syndrome children.
Cool. That's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, well,
thank you again for hosting it.
Charity. Yep. So Joe, what's going on really quick in your world before we take
Not a
beard?
darn thing. Beard Therapy every Wednesday, 8:30 on the Beard Therapy channel YouTube. Wear your grown-up boots. It's not a safe zone. And that's about it. But I got to run. James, great seeing you again, man. It's been too long. Take care. Thank you for having me on, Andy, and I'll see you next week.
See ya.
Take care. Take care, everyone out there. Bye-bye.
See ya. You bet. Yep. So we'll see him next week. He's going off to. He had to make sure that he got. The debates are going on, so him and his wife are going to go enjoy the debates. And I was like, yeah, we want to make sure you get off. The wife was giving him the five.
Hurry up.
5. So yeah, that was really fun, and I'm glad that he was able to join us. We were going to have Boston Mike, and I don't know what happened to Boston Mike, to be honest with you. I
know he's been busy with work and stuff like that.
I think that's what it is. I think that's what it is. We were gonna, but so people that were, I had told people we were doing Boston Mike this week. I'm sorry, but things change. This beard game is always like that, right? There's always stuff changing up on us. It's impermanent. But we totally appreciate everybody's come on. How's it going with you, buddy? Is there everything what do you got going on this next week or two?
Yeah, it should be good. I was kind of working on a couple of reviews. I'm actually testing one company or a couple companies right now.
What do you got? Are you gonna anything to tell us about? Any cool companies?
One is the Oak Cliff Beard Company. I got that one. Our Beard Kingdom, sorry, that company. And then the Kurum Nadurtha. He's kind of new. He's been kind of coming around.
Oh, cool! I never heard of him. Cool, that'd be cool to see that. I enjoy new companies. I haven't been taking on a lot of new companies just because I've been trying to stick with like some of the base ones that I've been using for a while that I love.
What's up, Tomahawk?
Hey, what's going on, buddy? I don't know. I'm just trying. To. It's hard for me because I got so used to trying out like all these these new companies and then they were gone.
Yeah.
I mean,
this is just one I got like they were like a giveaway or whatever, like big surprise.
Cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just like, and then the other one, the new one, he sent me out some stuff to try. I was like, okay.
Have you tried them before?
I haven't really been taking anything. I mean, or buying much as well. So I mean, it's just kind of working and doing stuff around here. And
I bought way too much stuff these last couple paychecks. I went a little crazy. I had that last unboxing where I bought 10th Kingdom BC. I had Hanyakers. I had I bought like Iowa Beard Co. because I can't stop getting his like Haunted Mansion stuff. I love that stuff. It's like anything Disney. And I got the shirt. I got the hoodie. I have 2 shirts now. I'm like, I can't stop buying this stuff. I gotta stop. But I have a shirt. I have the 2 shirts from his 2 fall scents, which are that as what is it? Ebizura. I can't remember his name. And then they have the hot box ghost. So Ezra, his name is Ezra, not Ezra. Ezra. So there's Ezra, the guy, and he's one of the hitchhiking ghosts. And then they have the other ghost, which is the Hatbox Ghost, which actually had not been a part of Disney for like years and years and years, and they brought him back because it was a defunct. The Hatbox Ghost actually was not working right. The illusion that they tried actually didn't work, so they took him out for like 40 years, and then all these Disney fans were like, "Bring him back!" And so now he's back in the ride, but he's only at Disneyland. So I got the hoodie, I got that, I got the scents, so I'm fall scented up. What's your have you tried any fall scents?
I have, which ones do I have? I got chronic beard with us. I bought the Salem Smoke on that.
Oh, that's so nice.
That's
really a really good one. I think I have that right here.
That's what I have fall scent was.
What do you think? What do you think of his butter? I swear that Chronic is one of the best butters out there, and this scent in Salem Smoke is just tremendously good.
Yeah, you smell every part of it. Every scent profile in there is just. You smell the apple. It's like a fresh apple, like it's like a fresh bitten apple. It's just what it smells like.
With a little bit of that caramel, just enough of the caramel to make it to me. But that fresh apple is
Yeah.
so crisp, and and that smoke is just enough to kick it out of just the park. I absolutely love Chronic Beard. I didn't think I was going to like him that much. I was like, how much can, I was kind of hesitant because, the whole Chronic thing.
Right.
And I was like, I'm trying to be a, this good, this good guy who's trying to keep it kid friendly.
I did one of his first. It was one of his first reviews that I did for him. So this
So
is before he changed bottles and stuff like that. So what's up, Pete?
Oh, right.
Yeah, before he changed bottles and all that stuff, where they were just green bottles.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah, that wasn't that long ago, but
Yeah, no.
So good though, so good.
Oh yeah.
I have that Shatterfly I won off of some sort of giveaway. I think Joe's, and that was my first introduction to Chronic. And oh my goodness, Shatterfly is a really good cologne, but the butter is just so good.
Yeah, because I got the Wake and Bake and the Munchies. The Wake and Bake at the time, and he sent it to me I wasn't too much of a fan of it because it did smell like Merino weed.
Like pot, yeah.
I told him it was more like I didn't get the coffee out of it. I didn't really get much coffee out of it. It was more of that, and he toned it down. So I haven't tried it then, or now. But he said he toned it down, and it's a lot better. But yeah, I told him straight up. I was like, yeah, I don't know if I can wear it because especially at my work or whatever. I don't want to get like a random drug test or something.
Well, that's the whole thing that's funny.
It just smells too much like weed, and I'm like, I can't really do that. Well,
no
good. I got both of those because it's funny because Wake and Bake and then you end it with the Munchies. That's kind of what I said in the video.
Yeah.
And, so I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, good times, man.
I love it. His wash is really good. I still have some of his wash.
Is it hemp based as well?
The wash?
Yeah.
He gets a base. He orders a base from an apothecary place, and he's mentioned that before that he orders the base, but what he does, he adds his blend to that.
Oh, nice.
So it's a little bit more better. I've seen a few more companies that use the same base, but they don't use anything else past that. They just use the base.
Oh, okay, cool. So he's using that hemp oil and that other stuff that's going in there to help it.
What the blend was, he would add everything to the wash or the conditioner.
Nice. I'll tell you that his stuff is so good, and we're gonna have him on. Just to let you know, November we're pretty packed, buddy. We got some good people, and we got Chronic. I think we have Adam on.
What's funny when I did the review for him, I did like it's really funny. I did a music video for him. It's really funny. It's what was it? Oh my god! It was from the Hits from the Bong song.
And, I know what you're talking about. Who is it? They Cypress Hill.
Oh no! Because you got and you smell it. And so it was whiff from the palm. So I was like, whiff from the palm. And then it's like,
that's awesome.
Instead of being like, can I get a hit? It was, can I get a whiff? It's like, can I get it was something just, I didn't know I was doing it. So when I did it, it's so good. Like, you have to check it out. I'll have to send it to you or something. But I'm like, even the starting of it, like I did, like when I ripped the package, that's how I would be like rip it. And so I rip the pack, rip it, unwrap it, unwrap like the bottle. So I went the whole thing. I had like lyrics for it. And it was like 20 seconds. It still blew him away, and he got a big joke out of it. And it was just something fun.
I love that. That's what I love about being in this community is that you get a special connection with some of these guys, especially the owners.
When I edited it out and did everything, I'm like, this is awesome.
This is actually a really good parody.
Dropping music videos there.
Cool. I think you need to charge. I need to charge you some money for this, and you can go and do it.
You got to think of that one.
Yeah, I love that. Mike's a good dude. We'll have him on. I think it's either the first week in November or the second week in November. I absolutely love Chronic Mike. He's a good dude. And then Hanyaker, Adam, you can't go wrong with Adam. Have you tried Witch's Breath? It's not everybody's love. It's one of his best selling right now, but some people are like, I don't like that earthy. Have you tried him yet?
I've tried Hanyaker stuff. I got his stuff through I think who did I get it from? I got it through a trade, or not trade, but they were looking to get rid of some stuff. Oh, Andrew. Andrew was getting rid of some stuff, and he was like, "Hey, you want some? I'll send you. I'll mail you whatever. I'm not going to use anymore." And he mailed me some things, and a few things were Hanyaker. It was body language, elder, and something else. Forgot what the other one was. But yeah, I mean, really, really nice stuff. I like all of them. The body language is one of my favorites.
I absolutely love his stuff, and I've told he's one of the companies that him, Chronic, Iowa Beard Co. and 10th Kingdom BC, as you know, I support those guys fully. So I will try to buy as much of their scents as I can afford over the next, because I like them, and they're pretty solid companies. They're good, good products, and they're at least also that you will have a good relationship with them for a while, I think.
Right. There was actually a company like last week that started following me on here, and they had a company on Etsy, and it's called Slack Squatch, and I thought the name was cool, and I shared on my story earlier that I bought. So he only has just balms. He's doing like a conditioning balm kind of thing. I don't know yet. I have one I bought like the other day that he sent to me.
Go check him out. Yeah, I'm always interested in new.
He's only got one. He's coming out with a different scent right now. He's coming out with a new scent, but he's right now he's just doing balms. So later on down the line, I think he started like in June or July, like when COVID hit.
Right.
He started,
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Creating his own products or something like that. So he just does balms.
That's it. There's another guy called Cactus Jack. He's like a local dude, and he just sells this Cactus Jack bombs, and he sells bombs. And I think he just started getting into oils maybe a little bit ago, but he was strictly a bomb guy too. And I remember thinking, why did he start with bombs and not oils and then go to a bomb?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. That's what I was asking. I was like, but I mean, hey, I mean, that's how.
Well, that's like bearded zebra, bearded zebra and beard mana. Yeah. They started with oils, and I don't know if they've released a butter or a balm yet, but
not yet. He's working on the butter. I think he's just like I know he posted something the other day or something like that. Like he's calling it beard something like that. It's like a butter. But I mean, hey, that's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. They have really good scents. I'm telling you that they are complex. Complex is the problem that I have is that he really likes cinnamon. He has a couple, like 2 or 3 of those are cinnamon. Yeah. Anything with cinnamon with my beard, it just doesn't work. As soon as I try it, my skin just doesn't like it, and then it flares up, and then that's the end of it.
Yeah, I experienced stuff with cinnamon. Like I think when I got the Bomb House from Ruddy, because that's got cinnamon, apple, and something else in it. But yeah, the cinnamon I could feel. It wasn't bad, but I can feel. I always feel if there's something with cinnamon in it, I always know it's in there because I'll get like a little tingle feel.
Right.
It's not bad. It doesn't react bad to it, but it's just I know there's something in there with cinnamon because it tingles.
Yeah, at first, like I can do like I did the first time I tried it. It was like a little bit of tingle, and then the next day I put maybe a little too much, and then my entire throat was like completely red. Wow. Yeah. And Caden was like, I think we may have to go to the doctors or something. I'm like, I don't know. I've never had this big of a allergic reaction to something. Right. So yeah. Well, it is that time. There's a lot of people going over to Joe's, and our numbers are kind of down anyway. So there's so much going on. But I wanted to be this week we had a good time. And I'm glad that Joe was able to just jump on in, and we got to talk some Cali. I knew you were, I thought that you were from California in some way. And so I was like, I hope that we could talk some Cali, and I love California. I miss going there right now because it's so much fun. So much fun to go to California.
I think I was about 9 or 10, but I remember taking my first helicopter ride to Catalina Island.
Isn't that cool? Did you go do the Catalina wine mixer?
Right.
I was part of the Catalina Island one. My sister used to do CIMI, which is Catalina Island Marine Institute. Every summer they had a kids camp. And you could they had like snorkeling. So you would go and scuba diving. So you could do scuba diving and snorkeling. And she wanted to be a marine biologist, so it was like one of those places where you could go get really in depth, and there's sharks there, there's, you know, you name it, there's all sorts of sea life at that place. So because it's out in the middle of, you know, what, 35 miles away from LA in the ocean, right?
Yeah.
I think. Or you can take the, you took the, see, I've always heard that you could just take there was a ferry, right? Or there was the helicopter.
Yeah, I think there was. I don't know. There was a ferry, but I know how I went was by helicopter. I thought it was
That's
pretty
pretty
fun.
cool. How was that? Was that pretty cool?
That was cool. I think I sat in the front. I got to sit in the front, so it was cool. A nice cool experience to go through and experience.
That is really neat. I enjoy. I
wish.
wish.
Went to the beach there, and I forgot that big old like brown building. I forgot what it's called. I don't know, it's a museum or something like that. I think it's, if you look at Catalina, there's like a big old like kind of like round building or whatever. I think I'm not sure that's like a museum or something. I think we went in there as well.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't been there. I just know my sister went there. I think my parents went there once to go pick her up or do something. I can't remember, but I just remember her going every summer when I was in college because she's like 6 years younger than me. So she had such a good time doing that. And then after she got done, when she was old enough, she started working for that company, and she did Astro Camp up in Hemet. Do you know where Hemet is? Is like right. It's those mountains that are near Indio.
I have family that lived in Hemet.
You have a, oh, okay. Yeah.
They lived in Hemet and like San Jacinto and all that stuff.
Yeah, up in the mountains up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cool place. So she works at that Astro Camp that was up there. There's like a camp that they do for people that are interested in astrology or astronomy. Anyway. Well, thank you everybody for sticking in there. We have 3 people hanging in there with us. We appreciate it. And everybody have a good night. You got anything? So you got that going on. We got next week. Come join us. We got stuff. I think he just disappeared for a second. Next week we have the event going on. And we will have a good time doing that. I've already had, if you are a company or if you are interested as a person, just want to donate some money, or you want to donate a service or whatever you want, we're open for just, you know, some of the charity auction stuff that we're doing. I've had like 5 or 6 companies reach out to me, which is, you know, if we get $200 or $300 or $500, that's more money for this for sharing Down syndrome. What they do is they do a lot of work with new parents, and they give new blankets to, because a lot of parents, when they have a Down syndrome, they're like completely and don't know what to do. So they give a lot of literature and a lot of blankets, and they hand knit blankets and give them to new parents. And also they help support folks that are going through, because a lot of Down syndrome children have heart surgery, have heart issues. And so within the first 6 months, they have heart surgery to fix like holes in their heart. So that's Van did, and they were supportive as heck. They were at the hospital with us. It was a really neat experience. So we'll be able to hopefully donate to that. So anyway, we'll talk to you guys later. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.